Okay, folks, just before you get started then, I think everybody seems to be in a group, is that right? What I suggest is that you give each person 4 minutes to talk about presents that we'll get around everybody, okay? So 4 minutes where they have the stage, they talk about an issue, and you ask over questions, okay? Okay, folks, hopefully you found that activity useful, just to have it in a slightly more formalised way so that you understand the process. The idea of this programme is that you continue that, continue working together as sets up till next module, and then following that as you get your fellowship application together. The sets are called action learning sets, so the opportunity for you to learn but also to take action. So I've asked you to think about what action you're going to take as a result of that conversation. It doesn't have to be a massive thing. You don't have to be kind of changing the world. It's just like, you could be a tiny little thing, but it's something positive that you're going to do. I want you to make a note of that for yourselves, but I'd also like to collect those up anonymously as well. So if you can write those down on the little squares of paper I've given you so I can collect those up. And just think about one thing that you're going to try and do differently, try and think about as a result of that conversation. So just hand those forward so I can have a look and see about the things that you're thinking of trying. This is all anonymous, it's just so I can get an idea of the things that you're finding challenging, so I can make sure that I steer what we're doing to support that. So just hand those forward at some stage. Start moving now properly into Module 2, having sort of refreshed ourselves about what we've done in Module 1. So I'm just going to highlight some of the bits of Module 2, because this is kind of a very generic aim of the module, written there for quality assurance purposes rather than for actually thinking about what we're doing. We can pick out the bits that are important, thinking about designing and planning your courses, engaging students in effective learning, promote graduate attributes. Now, before I came, I was looking to see whether Bay Kent had kind of written graduate attributes. Is that, have any of you heard of that? Do you know what graduate attributes are? Is that a concept that's around here? No. So I couldn't find any for Bay Kent. So many universities will identify the attributes they think their graduates should have. Okay? Now, if you look at many universities all over the world, they all kind of look very similar. But each university identifies or articulates what their graduates should be able to do, the way they should behave. But from my understanding, Bay Kent hasn't done that. Is that right? Yes? No? Right, okay. So we'll think about what types of attributes you want from your students for your courses anyway. Exploring different assessment types or methods and how these contribute to the coherent curriculum. So you'll remember back when we had that kind of model of learning last module, where assessment was the driver for everything that the students do, okay? Because they kind of had that idea, if we're assessing it, we think it's important, and therefore they will expend energy on it. And obviously they want to do well, so they focus the things that we're assessing. So how can we use assessment to make sure that our students are developing those attributes, those skills and behaviours that we want them to develop? And we will also obviously continue to reflect on how your professional values influence the sort of choices of activities that you engage in, how you interact with your students. So that's the overall aim of this module that we're going to be doing this week. And we've already seen this slide. So this will cover some of these key things: principles of curriculum design, teaching, teaching within the disciplines, your teaching skills, and then assessment and learning. So all of that information is in the handbook, which is on the online learning site. And and then this is just it diagrammatically how the three things are coming together. So disciplinary learning, design and planning your teaching, and assessing learning. And in the middle of it is those professional values, thinking about your student cohort. Okay, so drilling that down then into the actual learning outcomes that we're going to be achieving this week. First one then, the principles of curriculum design. Now when I designed this type of program before, I always put curriculum design at the end. So I'm just trying to think about how we can thread that through, because I sort of think that we should start with what you're doing and then see how that fits into the wider picture. But we'll think about how the principles of curriculum design should inform your planning and delivery. Now whether you're responsible for designing the curriculum yourselves, or how you see that, what you're teaching, how that fits into the bigger picture. So how many of you are responsible for designing curriculum for a whole degree program? For a module? Yeah, so okay. So you're responsible for designing curriculum for a module, but you understand how your module fits into the bigger picture of the curriculum. And that's really what we're going to be thinking about. We'll start off with your module and then seeing how that maps to the wider degree program, the wider university. We're going to look at your assessment methods. So last time we evaluated them all, didn't we, according to the 6 tenets of assessment, and thinking about whether your assessment was valid, whether it was verifiable, reliable, manageable. Yeah, we did all of that, didn't we? So now we've got an understanding where we've audited our teaching. Did I do something? It'll just come back to the practice, but also is actually driving the sort of learning behaviours that we want to encourage. And then we're going to start thinking about our individual teaching skills in the classroom and how we can use that to really engage students, show awareness of different learning styles, different skills or whatever that the students are trying to develop. Is that going to come back tonight? And then again, thinking about the wider context of higher education in Turkey. How does what you do at Bakin kind of fit into developing employable graduates, other issues such as sort of digital capabilities and things like that, and how do we expect our students to develop to become 21st century. So some of the important things there, definitely the employability of your students, where they go after they complete their degree, how many of them go into, if you're doing a degree in maths or engineering, how many of them go on to be engineers, or how many of them go on to do other jobs. So how are we preparing them for that wider employment path? Okay, right, yeah, that's a good point. You all grab your mobiles and give you a little question just to start thinking about what do we mean by curriculum. So if you get out your phone, and I'll just, oh there you go, right, very good. So think about what do we actually think about when we think about curriculum, okay? So what words does that mean to you? So if you just go to this URL, so it's answergarden.ch, okay, so it's HTTPS, then answergarden, all one word, .ch. If you get your phone out or a tablet or whatever you have, and then it's /494498. Okay, so get your phones out. You can't see that on the screen. Okay, types of response there. Some of them are very much around the kind of the structure and the logistics, things like, you know, the weekly program, the plan, the timing of, you know, what we're delivering on a week-by-week basis. Okay. Other responses are a little bit more learning outcomes, program outcomes, choice, teaching, coaching, discipline. So they're much more about what the students are actually doing rather than the structure. So we've got quite, you know, we've got things around content and assessment, innovation. So we've got some really diverse ideas about what we mean by curriculum. Yeah, so activities is now starting to get a lot bigger in there as well. So what the students are actually doing. So the word curriculum and curriculum design covers a multitude of things. It's quite a complex kind of idea. And in Module 1 we thought about what was the whole purpose of higher education. And the whole purpose of higher education is very... can anybody remember some of the things that we came up with when we thought about what was the purpose of higher education? Specialised. Yes, specialised to get graduates that are specialists in subjects. Anything else? Research, yes. Yeah. Any other reasons why we're all here? Professionalism, yeah. I gave you a lot of time to think about that. So we also thought about like the sort of social mobility angle, kind of the social context, the opportunities we provide students to work with others, and it wasn't just about some of the things that we talk about in terms of, you know, becoming an engineer or a scientist or a mathematician, but also those kind of wider things, having that wider understanding. So there's a lot of things that go into our higher education system apart from just the core content of degree programs. So we can think about the curriculum in terms of this sort of model. At the heart of it is what we're doing in terms of our teaching and learning activities, teaching, learning and assessment with our students. That's kind of the core of what we're doing in higher education, isn't it? It's that kind of interaction in the classroom with our students. And that's at the heart of what we're doing, that kind of interaction between the lecturer or the tutor and the actual students. But what we're actually teaching, the topic that we're teaching, that might be set by your course director, the school, the program team. So the topic that you're teaching in that class is informed by a wider. You can't just decide solely on your own what topic you're going to teach. Yeah. So that kind of relates then to sort of the program. The knowledge and skills and attributes. So remember we looked at that in semester in Module 1. We thought about the wider graduate in terms of not just the knowledge that they have, but also the skills and the professional attributes that they develop. And those things can be set by your school team, your course team, your whole faculty. They might have decided or come together to decide what type of professional values or skills or attributes that all the graduates in that school should have. Yeah? So it becomes a little bit wider for all of you training. In the UK, we have things called subject benchmarks. Do you have that idea? So the Quality Assurance Agency would say, if you're doing a degree in biology, these are the things that should be included in a degree. Okay? Do you have a similar kind of thing here? So they're called the subject benchmarks. So if you're having something and you're calling it a biology degree or a chemistry degree or a physics degree, a history degree, there are certain areas of knowledge that should cover. There are certain skills and practices. And so whether it's a degree at Bay Kent University or another university, you still have to deliver those subject benchmarks. In the UK, the people that decide on these, I mean, they're set by the sector, but there's the Quality Assurance Agency who inform these, but also the professional bodies. So if you're doing an accredited engineering program, the professional body for engineers would have a say in what should be in that degree program. Yeah? If you're doing an architecture degree, then the professional body for architects will have a role in that degree program. So you start to see that going from what you're doing in the classroom is being informed by this whole sort of collection of other people. And then we've got this idea of graduate attributes. Okay, so these tend to be set by an institution where they've decided that every graduate from so from my own university, University College London, every graduate from that university should have certain attributes that says that they are a graduate from that university. Okay? And across the UK, United States, and other universities now, increasingly they're identifying these graduate attributes that all of their students should have. Doesn't matter if you're doing a degree in history or physics or medicine, you will all have these attributes. Okay? And in some ways that kind of is where the weakness comes, because they're so generic that almost every universities end up looking very similar. But it's how much they prioritise those. So if you went to a very research-intensive university, then the graduate attributes might be around research, or it might be around innovation, or it might be around social community networks. Okay? So they tend to reflect the sort of the flavour of the university. Right? So this diagram really is just trying to kind of bring into your mind all of the things that impact on what we do in the classroom. Okay, so I can't just suddenly turn up and say, right, I'm going to teach something completely different all in isolation. I have to think about what I'm teaching, how that fits into the course, how that fits into the school, how that fits into the professional body requirements, and also what are the needs of the employers. Okay, so that's going to have an impact on these skills and professional attributes that graduates should have. And ever since time immemorial, but certainly since when I did my degree and all the time I've been teaching, employers say that universities are not delivering the skills that they want. You know, it's kind of one of those continual tensions, but we still need to be thinking about preparing our graduates for the workforce. Okay, so that really is just kind of a model kind of capturing some of the things that we need to think about when we talk about curriculum design. But what we're going to be thinking about today is right down in the centre of here, that kind of linking what our intended learning outcomes are, which is what we talked about last in Module 1, and how actually what we do in the classroom is delivering those modular learning outcomes, which is this kind of concept of constructive alignment. So have you all heard of constructive alignment? Right, so okay, so this again is a slide from Module 1 where we thought about how learning happens, and then we've got to apply this to what it is we want students to learn. And we started thinking about why is it important that students learn this, and it's really shifting that focus from do they really need to learn a whole lot of content that actually they can find very easily, or is it more about the kind of the wider context of the other skills and being able to use that knowledge is much more important than just having the knowledge. Okay, so we think about why everything that we're asking students to learn, just asking that question, and again it goes back to really questioning what we do as well as questioning what our students do. Why do they need to learn this? Okay, and then thinking about when they need to learn this. Okay, so do they need to learn it in the first year? Is it something they need to learn in the first couple of weeks in the first semester? Or is it something that they're going to learn in the second year, the third year, or before they graduate? So there's some kind of, higher education learning skills, the ability to, do referencing, find information. But it's quite important that they start to develop right at the beginning of their higher education career. Other skills, it might be more important to add in later on, and we'll think about how we structure and scaffold those. And then where will they learn this? Will they learn this by sitting and listening to you talking? Will they learn it in the laboratory? Will they learn it working independently, working online, working in groups? So think about where they'll learn that. And all of these come together to get our intended learning outcomes. Okay? And it starts to convert our rather anonymous, in this example, a scientist into a graduate.